Hello, thanks for tuning in. It is all about tuning in, isn't it? You know, we tune in and out of different frequencies all the time. We tune into states of positivity and states of negativity. We tune into states of corruption. We tune into our rainforest. We tune into the stars. The mind is a tuning mechanism. You know, I love the idea we can tune in and out of music and in and out of sound and in and out of smells and tastes. And we tune into one another. We tune in through intimacy. We tune in through hugs and laughter. So thanks for tuning in again. So yes, Jordan Peterson, I like the notion, you know, the Christian notion, you know, I'm not an advocate of Christianity, but I suppose if you live in the true Christian way, then you're a good, beautiful human being. But how many walk off the path of righteousness, eh? So yes, but he talks about there has to be a spark of divinity, a spark of the divine in every living being. Because it is that spark that connects us to it. And, you know, and we are connected to it. We are connected to it. You know, we are connected to the whole existential sense of ourselves in relation to everything. There's an interconnectivity built into us, this feeling of within. And that's part of the spark. And, you know, if we want to, you know, we have to, you know, transformation, you know, spirituality, we have to re-engage with spirituality and, you know, to transform ourselves. And we've all been transformed into capitalists or into communists or into anarchists or into Catholics or into Muslims, whatever, Buddhists. We've all been transformed into hate, into states of hate or states of love or states of America first or states of whatever. We've all been transformed. Transformation is part of our lives from the moment we were born to the moment we die. We're in a state of transformation. But spirituality, you know, we have to transform ourselves around a new understanding of spirituality. The old way of served us by degree, you know, the metaphor and the semantics, some of the structures, you know, the structures, you know, that are built into us in an a priori sense, you know, that those structures have been relayed and addressed by religions throughout the centuries. But we've wandered off the path of structure, if you will, and lost our way. So we've got to get back onto the path. I need to get back onto the path of this flow because I digress there. So anyway, yes. Transformation. We need to transform ourselves. We need to transform our minds around a new sense of spirituality. And one of the problems of relaying spirituality to people and trying to hook them in is they've heard it all before. And even that's beautiful, stunning sentiment by Peterson. People have heard it all before. You know, there's a divine spark within, this spark of divinity, and it connects us to all. Because people will say, yeah, that sounds lovely, and they'll get a kind of a transcendental tickle from it, you know, for the most part, and they make them feel like I said, for a moment they're connected to whatever, but then they're back into their own spectrums of thought, and they go about their business, they go about their daily. Most people just go about their business, they go about their daily path to work and to pick up the child and to play tennis and go to the movie and eat food and so on. That's beautiful. That in its own way, that domain of thinking is beautiful, but we have to get serious about ourselves sometimes. We have to transform around bigger spectrums of thought, and as I said, spirituality is one of them. But anyway, yes, so, you know, so alluding to spirituality, we're all one. That sounds beautiful. We're all connected to a certain big interconnected web. It sounds beautiful and it alludes to something, but it doesn't shift people. It doesn't lift people out of the spiritual stupor, slumber that they are in. Are they in a stupor, a slumber, a spiritual slumber? I truly believe they are. So anyway, I believe to kickstart the engine, you know, it's like an addiction. To take somebody off of heroin, you have to sublimate it with something else. And, you know, it's the same thing. To remove people from this shallow river that they swim in, we have to, you know, drop their minds into a deeper pond, if you will. One thing has to be sublimated, you know, to move away from. We have to offer people something bigger. So I am offering something bigger if you think about this divine spark within. Let's take stock of the divine spark within, because it's not just a feeling, an existential feeling, okay, of connectivity. This spark has a system within it, okay? Spark it up. Let's spark it up, this divine spark. This spark is a system. I continuously talk about the system, but it's important because the system is this observational eye that within us all that has so much magnitude and complexity. It makes us, you know, it gives us such kudos as a species, as an entity. You know, it's a shape of our intelligence. It's the shape of the spiritual God that we are. And so the spark within, this all-seeing eye, can systemize. It understands symmetry and geometry. It can square up the square. It can square up the circle. It can square up Einstein. It can square up physics, the laws of physics. It can square up the cell. It can square up biological patterns. Okay, we can square it up. We can square up that, you know, capitalism doesn't work. It doesn't square up. We can't find configuration with it. This is part of the spark. Our ability to enter all fields of knowledge with this all-seeing systemic eye. I mean, that has to have weight. So, you know, so it's trying to transplant a new idea of spirituality into you. Yet I truly believe we are God, and this spark within all, if you've listened to my work, and sorry to keep going over that, but I'm just trying to push my work too, because I believe it'll benefit our species. I've been about our species my entire life. I love humanity. I love our potential. We seem to be so afraid of our potential, to leave this man and woman suit behind forever and become this ontological God that's residing in the mind at a time of. We just got to wake up to it. So this spark within has rose up into abstract thought. It has risen up into alphabets, into structured language, into semantic, into idea of order, into semantics, into order, into the idea of what the cell might be and the molecule might be and how it's all connected, into the idea of ecology, what a monumental concept that we hold within, and it has structure and it's fed to us through a bed of inference points and axioms and so on. Point being, again, we can see this way because this spark within, this divine spark, is monumentally divine within. It is divine. It's the same system that rules man and woman out of the equation. It is not the thing in itself. It is not man that cannot find a thing in itself, as Kant had led us to believe. It is the thing in itself that cannot locate man or woman. Okay, there's no first order predicate that carries human as a unit unto itself, so it's not part of the abstract meta equation. End of story. And once again, that's part of the spark within talking. Okay, and even if you don't understand what I'm rambling on about half the time, there's a spark within that's monumentally awesome. It just searches out, it's trying to discern its place in the universe. It's going up against God. It's asking the existential questions. As gigantic that is gigantic within all. That's bigger than the next pair of shoes you're going to buy, and it's bigger than the Ferrari you think you own, okay? It's bigger than all the false status that represents you. It's bigger than your billion-pound empire, tiny little bug empires. You're not on a mountain at all, okay? You're not on a mountain at all. So if you want, to get off the old path, then, step onto the path of righteousness, step onto the monumental path, step onto the true majestic path, step onto the true path of intelligence and divinity. Spark that up. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in again. Peace and love and logic.